Some button.
Some button.
Some button once told me.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay, we're good.
World is gonna stream me.
Right.
I don't know.
Right. Don't.
I'm
Okay.
not the best Twitch user in the shed.
Gonna have to ask
My
you.
hair
Stop.
is looking
Stop.
down.
Stop. No, stop.
Gracious.
My terrible Filking.
Uh,
Not approved.
it's not, no, it's not approved. Okay. Gonna go over to channel now. Chatting is up. Okay. I think we're as good as we're gonna get, probably. Why does it look so fuzzy?
It doesn't look fuzzy to me.
Okay, good. Maybe it's just my computer. It's running like 3 different, and it can't handle it. Okay, there we go. It can't handle the truth. Alright. I think we're all set to go. Up and running.
Sure.
Sure. I just have to remember not to click on my Discord. Because if I do, it'll mess up everything.
I
Okay.
believe in you.
I literally have screen captured. Like, OBS is screen capturing my Discord. So if I click anything on the Discord and it changes, my OBS is like, no more pictures.
Oh,
Whoops.
okay.
That's how I had to do it.
It's all right.
It's alright. Oh, goody. She updated. Neat. Okay. Focus.
I'm tweeting and things,
Okay.
stuff. Although, it's not auto-creating the tweets. Twitch! Hell with it. Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 177 of Geek Grills. I am September McCready, and these are my co-hosts, Linda and Ray.
Hello.
No.
The Geek Grills podcast is supported primarily by our patrons. Please go today to patreon.com/grills and throw us a buck or two to give us a means to keep at it.
That'd
So
be
today's
nice.
topic, we're going to be talking about Thanksgiving stories, memories. Everybody has whatever nightmares or dreams that their holidays have been throughout the years. So we'll share some of ours. And in the meantime, let's catch up. Linda, what have you been up to this week?
I've been up to lots. I mean, my little another mini staycation has started for me this week because I got called into my manager's office and she was like, "Look, you have 2 weeks of vacation left that you haven't taken. 2 whole weeks." Like, she's like, "So when are you going to take off this last 2 months? Cuz if we don't use our vacation, we lose it." So, I still have like a week and I'm taking another week off in like December. So that's fun. But what I've been up to, first, I didn't actually write this down, but I've been working on my calligraphy. So I've done, it says Geek Grills, and I did your names.
Yay!
And then I looked up, I looked in Google for funny medieval quotes to do, and I found one. It's not actually medieval, but it makes sense for using calligraphy with. It says, so, behold, the field in which I grow my fox, lay thine eyes upon it, and thou shalt see that it is barren. And
Big mood.
big mood. And in true cat fashion, like the cats that have come before her, my cat hopped up onto the table while I was writing this. And she had, unbeknownst to me, just been availing herself of a drink. And so her tag was wet, and she dripped a drop of water right
Aw.
onto what I was working on. It's like, God damn
Yeah,
it!
they're like that.
It just reminded me of like the 500-year-old like book that has cat paw prints in it.
Ah, yes.
Like, you know. And then, of course, I got done with that, and my husband came over, and he was like, I want to try, and so I have a page of his attempts. He was like, how did you do this? So, that was the one thing. But the other things I've been up to is I upcycled that dress. So I took the sleeves off of it, and I actually, because the sleeves are puff sleeves, I actually turned them into the pockets.
Nice.
Clever.
Yeah, so I took the sleeves and I just like sewed the ends shut. I showed the end shut, and I put them into the dress. So this dress is now sleeveless and has pockets, which is a lovely thing. And I made myself a caftan out of a bed sheet. So it's very comfy. It's actually quite pretty. So I now have 2 new outfits from like upcycled things.
Yay.
Yay! I played, along with Ray, we played Alice is Missing, which is like, it's technically a card game, but you can, like, we played it over Discord, and we basically used Roll20 to have the cards laid out, which is really neat. I thought that was super cool. And what it is it's it's a silent text-based game. So you all are playing like high schoolers, and your friend Alice has gone missing, and it's all about you like figuring out like things about the world and the locations and things about suspects, and it's all text-based, and it was way more intense than I was expecting it to be.
And the background music is fantastic.
Yeah, there's a soundtrack that plays, and there's like a countdown on the soundtrack, and you have cards that tell you this happens at like 90 minutes, this happens at 50 minutes, and so different people have the cards, and you pick your card when that timer hits, and it's just really, really neat.
It kind of reminded me of Nightmare, which was a interactive board game with your VHS, because that also had the same timer thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like the gravekeeper would appear, and he would do his spiel, and then like go away, and there was just this timer with the countdown and the dramatic music, and at certain points of time, certain things would happen because of the cards that you had.
Yeah, so it was really cool, and
That sounds like a cool game.
It is. It's got super amounts of playability, because even though I think there's only like 5 characters, you have different motivations every time. And obviously the suspects change, and the locations change. It's just really neat. So can recommend. I'll see if I can find the link that our friend who's running it for us have for us, and we can put our link in like the notes.
Yeah.
I made 2 crewmates. I finished this blue one finally. He's just been kind of sitting around. But then I made a bitty one. And I like the bitty one better because it took me like an hour.
Of course.
There you go.
And then for a friend of mine, I made a little spider bro because she really likes spiders. So I made her a little spider bro out of the glow-in-the-dark yarn that I have, or the black light yarn. So he'll light up. Worked on my dragon blanket. I got my like FabFitFun box for the winter, which I got like these super cushy slipper sock things and a big blanket and mugs.
Nice.
Yeah. And then I also got from a place called Dragons and Beasties. I had ordered these a while ago. I got a new different mug. So it's got a little dragon on it standing on a dice pile, and the other side says, "This is how I roll."
Cute.
Excellent.
And a little enamel pin. It's a little mouse sleeping on a roll on a 20.
It's cute.
20-sided dice.
That
So
is super cute.
I'll put him on now that I've shown him off. My little dice. So that, yeah, I talked for a while. That's been going on in my house.
Did lots of things. What about you,
Yeah.
Ray? How geeky was your week?
It's okay. I've wrapped up some commissions, so now the only one that's on the docket is yours, Linda.
Yay!
So,
If you need any more information, I will tell you about my character.
you laugh, but honestly, it's easier to have more information than less. Like one of the ones I did do and get finished, actually had to go back over, and luckily I had to redo one of the swords darker color
Mhm.
than initially was, because that wasn't really clear to me.
Would
It's like, oh, the swords look like this. Gave me a picture of a gold sword, so I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, gold sword, gold sword. Oh, that needs to be red.
that's
Okay.
useful information.
I
But
can fix that. That's easy. She's
would
like,
it
is that going to be too much trouble? I'm like, nah, it's fine.
would
It's
it
literally
help?
Going over it.
Would it help if I try and dug out one of my old terrible sketches that I attempted to do myself?
I've actually got the rough done. At this point, it's just me like trying to finish some detailing before I pull out the ink. Let's see if it'll.
Perfect.
So those books are huge, by the way, but I figured since you're like 6'5", it would look more guitarish in your arms.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Bandoris are gigantic, but
Yeah, because I looked at pictures. I'm like, you hold them like this.
but in the arms of a dragonborn, it's like dee 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 dee.
Yeah, so I actually looked at like banjo players for the pose, so I could like, okay, yeah, it would go like this. Yeah, I did that. Apparently Shadowlands released today. And I've got my 5 alts all geared up and ready to go. I haven't touched it today at all. I've got a new switchy thing I need to use so I can actually have my desktop cabled in, because while trying to do all the catch-up stuff, I was lagging because I'm on the wireless, and it's terrible. So, but I have to have my laptop for work wired in because of personal information is exchanged, and so my husband got me that and he's like, yeah, we'll find the cables for it, we'll hook it up. And I'm like, okay, sure, that's fine.
Awesome.
And then the only other thing was I got a stream done, and I watched The Vow on HBO Max, which is all about the NXIVM cult. I don't know if I'm mentioned that.
Yikes.
It's basically like
Big yikes.
an MML cult, like self-help cult, merged together. He's running this self-help seminars as an MLM because that's where he got started in the early 90s, and super effective. Like the director of What the Bleep, if people remember that from the early 2000s, got suckered in, as well as like a whole bunch of people. And the guy who originally started it is currently like sentenced to jail, and they're currently working on trying to get the rest of it dismantled and people out. But he still is in charge. He can still run things, and he still has followers, employees, people still enough under his sway that they are protesting and dancing outside of the prison to send vibes to him.
It's really terrible.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I'm just really happy that he has 120 years. That was his sentence. 120 years to prison.
Yeah, because it's just, it's real messed up.
It's bad.
Yeah, there's lots of different ways you could look into it. That is the one I watched. Illuminati, that we talked about on YouTube, did a nice little dive into her.
She has a two-parter actually.
And one of the podcasts my husband listens to actually like went over it as well when he saw that I was watching that. He's like, why are you doing this? I'm like, because I know about the dangers of charismatic men who like to use and manipulate women for their own good.
Mm-hmm.
That's why. Never again.
Eek.
Eek.
Sorry. What have you been up to? Hopefully nothing quite like that.
No. I had that vendor event Sunday yesterday.
I was sad.
and
I was sad I couldn't come, but
I know I
Yeah.
was too, but you know, but it went well, except for a stupid person. But there's always that. Like I went early in the morning to get a good spot, and she was like, "Okay, well, we're gonna be here. Points to sale is gonna be over here, and then people are gonna line up all along this, along the road." And I was like, okay, so I figured this is a good spot, just the other side of it. And I had a tent, so I had to kind of try to get a level spot. And it would have been a nice flow of people walking along the tables to come down to where mine was. And I was kind of starting to define the next row that goes out into this yard area. And then I went for a hike. And then I came back to actually put my products out and stuff. And some lady selling elderberry syrup and shit set up with a card table, like kind of right in the middle of where the aisle would have been for people to walk over to where I was set up. So people had to go around her to get to me.
that's it.
It was just nonsensically stupid. But that's okay. She didn't sell shit all day from what I saw. I sold a good amount of stuff, even though people kept forgetting about it. I don't know why. I saw it on Facebook 4,000 times. It's probably just the algorithm. But I had to personally send it to people, and then they still forgot. But people were stopping in because they were driving by and they'd see it.
Mhm.
Like this one guy, I sold this necklace that I've had in that shop for like a year, and it never sold, and it was like $30. And he bought it for his daughter, and that was really awesome. I should have made more Wonder Woman masks. I don't know if you guys saw the pictures I posted, but I got this great DC fabric I've had for a while, and I realized it's perfect for masks that if I just have an extra, 2.5 inches on each side, each hero fits over across your whole face perfectly. So I had Superman and Batman and Aquaman and Wonder Woman and Green Lantern and the Flash masks, and somebody bought the Wonder Woman, and then 3 more people came looking at them and asked if I had Wonder Woman.
Aw.
I was like, I had one, but here's my card. I can make more.
I can custom make.
And then a friend of mine came and actually bought Batman, Green Lantern, and Superman. I made a bunch of Christmas ones, and they didn't only one got bought, and I thought that was a little odd. It's so close to Christmas, and that'd be a great little stocking stuffer. And I got snowflakey sparkle fabric and stuff with musical notes and holly on it, and only the weird ugly snowman one that I bought because my sister would like it sold. But that's okay. But yeah, I did really well. I think I made probably about $70. We'll see what the end is when I get my pay. What else? I made 4 pies today.
Good.
Sold 3 of them.
Neat.
Wow.
Yeah, they were pre-ordered, but my crust recipe makes 2 crusts, so we kept one. I thought about putting online because I know there's a few more people that probably want one for Thanksgiving, but I wanted to eat it after driving around for an hour with the smell of the pies.
Mhm.
Oh, man.
You're like,
Yeah.
and now I'm going to nom.
I'm going to have to eat the pie. It was actually really cute. When I was dropping off the second one, I got back in my car, and my text message came in from the other person I dropped one off to. She's like, "Oh, it's so good," because it was still warm. My husband started eating it immediately when I walked in the door.
Nice.
Right on. What else? I found an old dream journal, that's a trip. You think finding an old diary from when, you're a kid is something, but this dream journal I was using in the late 90s. It's like I started in 97 and lost it somewhere in 2001. And boy, am I weird. And we had another date night, paint night.
Cool.
And I painted the
Awesome.
spooky tree and the witch. Yeah, Rob found another. Instead of trying to do Bob Ross, because we're not using oils, we're using acrylics. We can't really. So, but we were looking at how to make his paintings, but using acrylics, so you're not using that wet on wet method. And then he found these cool. There was a spooky cat, and there was this one with the witch in the tree, and I was like, oh, that's for Sammy Joe, this very witchy friend of ours, and I wanted to make it for her if it turned out well enough, and I feel like it did.
It
So,
did. That
I'm
turned
gonna give
out
it to her
so
for Christmas.
cool.
Rob did his very different. He did like a red and orange flamey background instead of the green and yellow. I really liked the green and yellow because kind of Maleficent-y,
Yeah.
and I added some purple up in the sky and down in her dress to kind of do homage to that idea in my head. So that's definitely going to be a regular thing. I think we're going to keep painting. I might get some smaller canvases because I don't have room to hang up all this shit.
No, I totally hear you.
You could get it'd be cool if you get like those little ones and maybe do like a cluster of 4 and have them all be like similarly themed, or like
Yeah, anything with. I'm a little scared to go smaller. I do want to do some smaller ones, but depending on what the picture is, like it's harder to do something smaller if there's any distinct shapes, I guess. But I mean, I'll get better as we practice with the medium more. And they had a sale on 10 by 10 canvases, and I'm gonna measure. There's a spot across my mantle, like under where the top of the mantle is, that I think might be 10 inches. And I thought it'd be really neat if you could fit 4 or 5 of those or whatever, and we could do seasonal ones, like you were saying, like some kind of themed, and I could change them out seasonally. Because my mantle's kind of my altar, so I do that seasonal decorating. Extra nerd level. Okay, so with that, everybody's looking forward to Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
Yeah.
actually.
we're not
Is
gonna
anybody traveling?
and not like super far now.
Yeah, I'm just doing a little Friendsgiving with like 4 other people. So definitely still under that group of 10, and we've all been quarantining, so.
And like
That's good. Yeah,
I'm
some-
going the day after to my parents because they don't, well, I say need, they do kind of need, but it's more of a they want help decorating. So there's enough room in their house that I can be far away from them, if, like to keep
Yeah.
social distance. And my mom was like, "We're going through all of our Christmas decorations and getting rid of stuff. So there's 2 tubs for you to go through if you want more Christmas decorations." I was like, "All right, you know me well. I understand."
Christmas fairy activate.
Christmas fairy activate, yes. I have plans for the outside of my house this year. Lots of lights. See if I actually go
Yeah.
through with it.
Yeah. We're just staying home. Me and my husband and 2 of my boys. Connor still doesn't want to come home and visit because he's afraid of giving me the COVID. Like most people are. I was invited to some Friendsgiving, or I was not invited, I would say, to Thanksgiving, Friendsgiving stuff my friends did this weekend. And I was just like, well, it makes me kind of sad. Except I would have said no anyway.
Yeah.
So a lot of them are kind of just, people are not careful enough. And like, I don't want to be a bitch, but I'm scared. I'll admit it.
Yeah, I did not go to one last Friday because I knew about the one coming up, and I'm like, no, I'm breaking quarantine for that because we already agreed and been quarantining, so that's what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
I feel a bit bad about it.
Yeah, I'm actually just getting to place a posh order I've been wanting for weeks because my dealer is gonna like give me a deal on doing the shipping for me and giving me extra perk points and stuff, but she was quarantined, so couldn't be touching stuff and mailing it to people. Not going to be happening, but she's finally, her quarantine ended today. So what kind of stories you want to tell? Linda, I see you both have some notes in here.
Yeah, we got.
Yep.
I'll get us started, shall I?
Okay.
So, I believe this was back in my high school years. I have a couple of good ones. One is kind of more, it was funnier after the fact, but this one is funny kind of while it was happening. So, my father they both involve my father, actually, now that I think about it. My father is very much a DIYer, and, he's actually good at it. He does woodworking, he, knows how to use, every tool under the sun. I think he owns every tool under the sun, except for a metal lathe, which is what he wants next. He's, a computer programmer, he's into music. He's, one of those, modern-day Renaissance mans. So,
Gotcha.
he was running, I believe, if I'm recalling correctly, he was running either an internet cord or a cable cord into our kitchen, because he wanted to put a TV into the kitchen for my mother, so that she could have a show going on while she was cooking. And so he has a 6-foot drill bit. Not kidding, drill bit with a 6-foot long pole on it. And he is drilling down, the day before Thanksgiving, he is drilling down into our, kitchen floor / wall to get this cord run for my mother. I don't know why he decided to do it the day before Thanksgiving. He's drilling down, and the drill makes this terrible choking sound. And it gets stuck. And he is trying to get it back out, trying to back it out. It's not going. The drill just sounds like this dying goose. He finally unhooks the drill from the drill bit. And so we have this 6-foot drill bit kind of hanging out of the wall, just of the kitchen, day before Thanksgiving. Everyone's coming to our house. And
Stay out of the kitchen.
And Mom, is looking at it and looking at him, really? And he's like, hang on, I'll fix it. Let me find out what's happening. I don't know what it's stuck on. Hang on. So he goes, downstairs into the basement, where he can, look up through, the wall to see he's goes up, and looking up, and then he comes back and he goes in the kitchen, and he's, trying to make the holes just slightly bigger so he can shine a flashlight down. The drill bit got stuck on a knot. A knot in the beam. It was stuck there.
Okay.
So he's like, okay. So he spends about 3 hours trying to get this drill bit out. He's using the drill, he's using manual, he's trying to use his hands and to get it out. And meanwhile, my mom is in the background going, people are going to come over, what are we doing? Do I just hang a wreath on it? What am I supposed to do? And
She's helping.
she's helping. And by the end of it, my father has to take a saw. Hello, cat. My cat has decided to join me. My father takes just a handsaw and goes up through where he can reach and saws off the basically the body of the drill bit. And to this day, in that house, which they've moved out of, by the way, there is the head of a 6-foot drill bit stuck in a knot inside that wall.
Extra support.
Extra support.
It's fine.
All I remember is just this thin metal pole coming out of the wall, and my dad kind of standing there scratching his head, trying to figure out what to do. But we managed to get it fixed. And I think I think Mom told on him. I don't think we kept that a secret. I think she told on him when everybody came for Thanksgiving. I think
Believe what he did.
you won't believe it.
That's funny. I think it makes sense he was trying to do it for Thanksgiving, though, because she would be spending a lot of time in the kitchen that day.
Yeah, I think he was literally trying to do it so that she could have the Thanksgiving Day parade on while she was, like, getting stuff.
There you go. I think I almost had that happen, though. Trying to actually run my hardline up here for streaming.
Mm-hmm.
I have these holes over my door jamb at the bottom of the stairs because it's like plaster and I didn't have the right kind of bit and I just kept stopping when I got through
Oh, no.
the drywall that was over the plaster, and so it was just like and like didn't work. So I have all these holes. I thought I was hitting something. I try again. Like, oh, maybe it's just the stud and it's this way, or so I'll try one over here. Yeah, I never did successfully. I just ended up tacking it like to the top of the door frame.
I think one of my dad's, like, one of the things he wanted to do was, like, duct tape it to the wall. And then he was going to deal with it later, and my mom was like, no, you're dealing with it now. But, yeah.
So buttermilk is not eggnog?
Yes. So, this story was relayed to me mostly by my mother. I remember parts of it, so that means I was like 6 or 7. But I'm an only kid, and as an only kid, I'm spoiled. And I would just like pick up random glasses around the house and drink out of them. Because they're mine. We're all family. We share the same germs. That's it. So my grandfather was over. It's Thanksgiving, and he has this big, huge glass that looks cold and creamy and refreshing, and I'm convinced it's eggnog. And I just do what I normally do, and I just grab the glass, and I'm like, oh, yay! And I just, like, my mom says I had the best look on my face, because I remember this part. This part I remember. It was the worst tasting, rancid thing in my mouth. And, like, my grandfather just looks at me, he's like, you drank that, you better swallow it. I'm like, it's just kind of whimpering. And, like, I immediately, like, run to the kitchen and get some water to clean out my mouth. And he's like, I bet you're not going to be drinking out of anyone else's cups again. I'm like, not yours. So, yeah, in case you ever wanted to know, buttermilk is not eggnog.
No.
Oh, yeah, that would be a nasty surprise.
That was pretty terrible.
In case anybody doesn't know, buttermilk is basically milk that you have curdled with, like, lemon juice. It's gross.
People do just drink it.
Yeah, people do just drink it. It's supposed to have...
It's super great for lots of recipes.
It's supposed to have health things in it, but recipes, yes.
Baking with it, yeah, it kind of like buttermilk, even cakes, yeah, but I'm just like, you would just drink it. I'm like,
don't drink it straight.
It was good old Southern boy.
Oh, God.
Oh, yeah, Southerners. So, I have a story that it's actually related to the pies that I was making today.
Oh.
A very special chocolate pecan pie, because there was an incident with the pie. And I remember this pie from when I was little, and it's like literally in the cookbook I made to hand down to my kids. It says, like, this is the most delicious pie in the world, because it's really, really good. It's chocolate pecan pie, and it's not just throw some fucking chocolate chips in a pecan pie like some people do. I don't know. These Southerners, like, I don't understand. I go to a farmer's market and I see chocolate pecan pie and I get really excited. It was like they literally just mix some chocolate chips in here. Like, you can totally tell, but this is a really good from scratch recipe. And my mother was making it, and we normally make it for Thanksgiving, sometimes Christmas. And she had it, and she was taking it out into the garage to cool. So I was deprived of chocolate pecan pie for 15 years and also forbidden my entire life to wear Dr. Scholl's because she tripped and dropped hot chocolate pecan pie in her lap
Oh.
when she fell. So she was taken to the hospital. She was in there for days and days with 3rd-degree burns.
God.
All in the area. All her inner thighs. Yeah. So she quit making the pie. And I always just remembered the pie. And I would ask for the pie. And she was not making that pie ever again. And it took me like 15 years to get the recipe out of her. Even. And it was like, I'm living in Florida. I still remember and I want this pie. And I got her to give me the recipe and I started making it myself. Like, I'm not going to be taking it outside to cool. It's not cool here. And I'm going to make it a hell of time, so I don't have to do that kind of thing. So I have been making it. My sister, I guess, tried once and I don't know, she said it didn't work right. I think she just doesn't want to do it. But last year, I had shared it with some people, and so people started asking me to buy it after I took it to the brewery. And I sold a bunch last year at Thanksgiving and then Christmas a couple. And then so I did it again this year. I posted online last week, and people started immediately Venmoing me money and shit. I was like, okay, hold on. I can only take 5 orders max. Like,
Hi, Jackie, by the way. Jackie's in our chat.
Oh, hi, Jackie. But I had to, yeah. So I did the 3 today, and I've got, I think, 3 or 4 more ordered for Christmas. I'm not sure. I will be doing in a few weeks.
If I thought that they would ship well, I would ask. I don't know if they
I know.
ship
My friend Chris is like, please. But it's like $30 of dry ice. I'm like, it doesn't need dry ice, but it'd be fragile with, the crust.
Yeah, you'd have to pack it in a styrofoam thing and slap Fragile all over it, and even then they may not. They'd be tumbled in the mail.
Yeah, because you couldn't compress it in any way that would keep the custard from doing something awful. But there's just figure out a way to ship it or something. And he's like, my wife loves pecan pie, and that sounds so good. And I was like, I will give you the secret recipe. And I was telling the story about my mom, burning herself with it. And so he's like, that's a really special recipe. You can't give it away. I said, yes, I can, because it's mine now.
it's mine now.
And he traded me his, barbecue sauce recipe. So I figure that's fair. Now, if he actually makes the pie, that'll be another story, because he's more scared of the baking and crust type stuff. And, I did once buy a crust for it, but the pie deserves better than that, and I will never do it again. So, what about, let's go back up to Linda's turn.
Yep. So, speaking of hospital visits, yeah, so the second story, this was back when, it was before my husband and I were engaged. It was the 3rd year that we were dating, I think. The 3rd Thanksgiving. So a little bit of backstory for this to make sense is my father had a pulmonary embolism years ago, which is basically blood clots in his lungs. He had shortness of breath. We took him to the hospital. He was on blood thinners. He's okay. He's still on blood thinners now, just to make sure everything flows correctly. But so he had a doctor's appointment the day before Thanksgiving. And I can't remember if this was a new doctor or if they just hadn't taken any x-rays yet, but the doctor took x-rays of his chest, his lungs. And he said immediately, you're going to the hospital right now. And my dad was
boy.
What? Because there were dark spots in his lungs. And they were like, it might be more clots. You have to go to the hospital right now. And he was like, oh, okay. So he goes to the hospital. My mom follows him to try, to make sure, he's okay, to be there with him. Meanwhile, I'm over at my parents' with my husband. because we had like come over, or we weren't gonna come over like the night before, but because that happened, we did, and I ended up cooking the turkey, which I had never done before, by the way.
Trial by fire.
Literal trial by trial by fire, and so I'm trying not to freak out because my dad's in the hospital. My then boyfriend husband is trying to keep me calm by going, okay, you got to take the turkey out now and baste it, and then it's just like this round of like every half an hour or every hour I'm taking the turkey out and basting it and going, has my mom called yet? Has my mom called yet? Turns out, stressful. Turns out that all of those spots that they saw on my dad's lungs in the x-ray, scarring from the previous embolism. He was fine. He was perfectly hale and healthy, and I don't know why they didn't know what those were. My mom
now
was
you know how to make a turkey.
so mad.
Also better safe than sorry.
It is better safe than sorry, but it was like, why didn't he know what those were? And I'm like, you can't argue with the doctor being cautious. But at the same time, that was stressful.
Yeah. That's not fun at all.
Yeah, because not only was, my dad in the hospital, but I was also having to cook a turkey, which I had never done before and didn't know if I was going to poison everyone. Because I had never done it before. So that was one of those, like, hair pulling. Because, again, like, everyone was coming to their house. And they didn't want to... I don't know why they didn't want to cancel. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean... Or why didn't somebody else step up and say, I'll cook? Like, how old were you?
Like I said, it was back, like... Well, a few years ago. So I wasn't like... I was out of college. So I was grown up, but... Still, like... I was just like, and that's a lot of pressure!
Well, at least it didn't turn out. You'd have a really good excuse.
Yeah, that's true. I was stressed. But no, it turned out my dad
Too much stress in the turkey.
Yeah. Too much stress in the turkey. Hold on, let me
so Ray has a cake story.
Yes, this is actually my mother's story that she likes to regale us with every year, no fail. To the point where I actually made a version of this cake for her last year. But we go back in time. Diddly-doo, 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 I love Wayne's World. It is like late 60s. I think probably the late 60s, because she's still living at home in New York. And she's like found a recipe. My mom loves cooking. That is one of her favorite things. So she found some recipe, I think in some magazine, with an eggnog cake. And she's like, oh, this is great. I'm going to make this for Thanksgiving. Everybody's going to love it. So she makes the cake, and to this day, she is not sure exactly what went wrong. But for some reason, the cake is like cement. Like, she goes to take it out of the pan, and thump! It's just heavy and just thick. So her brother-in-law, Uncle Bobby, is like trying to cut into it, and he's just like, get me the bread knife, this isn't working. She's trying to saw into this ridiculous cake, and he can't. Like, he gives up. He can't even cut a piece out. And he's just like, and my mom's like, I don't know, I did everything right. And it's just like this thing. So like for decades, like every year, Bobby was at the same Thanksgiving with my mom. He'd just always be like, not an eggnog cake this year, right?
Oh.
No more eggnog cake.
Way to rub salt in.
Oh, they were not the best of friends, so they were not close.
That'd make a great gag gift, though, wouldn't it? Like, paint a brick.
Yeah.
Like a cake. And it can be holiday decorations every year.
Uncle Bobby, give me your address. No, but I did make an eggnog cake because my mom swears the recipe was basically a white cake with eggnog instead of milk. And I'm like, I did that, and I'm like, oh no, this is actually really good. I'll add a little extra seasoning and vanilla, and I'm like, ta-da! And she's like, you did it! The eggnog cake is redeemed. I'm like, yes. We don't have to tell Uncle Bobby about it.
I don't know how that
As-
happened. She must
I
have
know.
forgotten all
As-
the leavening.
As a baker, I'm trying to figure out if it's just a white cake where you add eggnog instead of milk.
What?
She must have
went
left out the
wrong?
leavening.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Like, I don't know what she did.
Because if
but
you
she's
leave
like,
out the baking soda,
Yeah, that's true.
I don't think the eggs would be enough to
Not unless you whipped
still
them
have it
up.
rise. So
Yeah.
you would bake the flour and the milk, and it would turn
You
into
just thunk.
plaster.
Yeah.
and
like-
also maybe it was homemade eggnog. I don't know if they had like eggnog in the carton from the store then. I don't know.
Interesting.
But 60s, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually want to decoupage something. You just reminded me of that.
That is our infamous eggnog cake story.
I don't know. So much misfortune. I once went to the ER and I thought everybody, like, I was in horrible writhing pain after turkey dinner. Like, I was okay for a little while, and then I was just like, ow, 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 like curled up in a ball, could not straighten up. They had to carry me to the car eventually, but no one would take me. Like, they thought I just ate too much. They thought I was faking. They thought I was trying to get attention. Like, the whole family was there at my grandmother's house until I was, like, just literally screaming. And then finally I was taken to the ER, and, you know, I was in a wheelchair and waiting in the waiting room, and then I projectile vomited everywhere and was fine. Simple gastroenteritis. But, boy, that's painful.
Yeah. Jesus.
And what Hada's timing after
Yeah.
having eaten a whole lot
Yeah.
to get stricken with that. But like, oh, everybody else is fine. It's not, there's nothing wrong with you, you know. Like, oh, yeah. So that was no fun. But we don't have, I don't know, I don't have any, everything is so much better now that I'm far away from my family. Is that wrong? And so he texting me yesterday, like, how are you? I'm like, oh, I'm good. How are you? They're like, mostly all right. I'm like, what's going on? Like, oh, just family drama stuff. I'm like, yeah, sometimes I am just very thankful that I live far from my family. Like, I honestly, like, the fights that would happen sometimes, like, I do remember a lot of, you know, we're going home.
Oh,
and I had
God.
one of those uncles that'd be like ripping the heads off of kids' dolls at Christmas, and I had,
Yikes.
you know, the family just, I don't have to do any of that, and I can cook a turkey, and we get all the leftovers, and I make pies, and people pay me for them instead of just expecting me to make everything because they don't want to. Like, I just get to choose my own holidays. I usually invite anyone who doesn't have a place to go to come over, but I'm not doing that this year.
Yeah.
Not safe.
Oh,
So-
speaking of like holiday things, I saw somebody on Instagram that I follow. I think they're called like Witchy Tips or something like that, and she has a Yule box of like, you know, how to bless your space for Yule and things like that. And I actually thought of you because I know that you celebrate Yule, and I was like, that looks really cool. I wonder how much like of this Ember does, because it's like there's all sorts of things in the box, like sage and things to like bless your space, and I have to like look it up and like I'll send it to you.
My fireplace is unfortunately not. It doesn't work very well. I don't know what it is. It's something about the elevation we're at. But if I try to use my fireplace, smoke comes down the chimney,
Oh no.
which sucks because like I would love to be doing a Yule log, but I think I'm gonna help. I might help my friend Lori. I know she wants to do a Yule log this year, and she's coming over soon to. I decorate my mantle with I have the biggest holly tree you've ever seen in my yard, and it looks like a woman is planted upside down on the ground. Like it branches out. It looks like legs. It has two main trunks, and it is just laden with berries. Like bees love that thing in the spring, and it gets a million blossoms. And now I have like appropriately seasonally, I get to go out and just hack a bunch off and throw it in the mantle. It looks gorgeous, and it's real holly. But yeah, little things. Most of my decorating though is the rest of it is blue and white because of the solstice, and given my wedding anniversary is also on the solstice, tend to stick with that. Like my tree skirt, we always get a real tree.
Happy anniversary then. If whenever
December
that is.
21st.
Yeah, December 21st.
Not yet.
It's you know what? I always assume it's okay to say happy anniversary to everybody.
Sure. All anniversaries all the time.
Yeah.
So y'all, excuse me. All right, so we're all obviously looking forward to Thanksgiving with no disasters, although maybe some good stories to tell. What are you most anticipating right now?
I am most anticipating my vacation. I mean, I've got like 5 more days.
I'm so excited about it. I have to check my notes.
Yeah, I have to look at my notes. So my parents are taking us to go see the World of Illumination, which is it's basically at Six Flags, and the Six Flags parking, or not Six Flags, the other part of Six Flags, Whitewater, the Whitewater parking lot.
One of those things.
One of those things. They have a thing called the World of Illumination, which is basically a drive-through, like, it's like old Callaway Gardens, where they used to do the Nights of Lights, where you would just drive all through the gardens and everything would be lit up. But it's like you don't get out of your car, you don't interact with people, you buy a ticket, so they don't have like 8 million people trying to get through. You just drive through, and it's like 2 miles of lights. They have the radio playing music, so that's nice and safe, and just gonna go and stare out the window at lights. And like Thanksgiving stuff, all that stuff's coming up, and I'm gonna be working on Christmas gifts. I can't say anything about my parents' gifts because my mom listens to the show. But I am trying to finish up this scarf for my cousin for her. It's her college colors, so it'll be a nice little gift for her. And I'm going to be doing some wood burning stuff this year, probably for gifts, and go from there. So I just, like, I think it was like a week or 2 weeks ago it hit me that I had not thought about gifts for anyone. And I'm usually, like, on top of that. I was like, I haven't gotten Christmas gifts for a single person. So
I know, I'm going to run out of time. Yeah, I think I'm going to run out of time, too. Because, like, I have all these things I want to make for people, but I don't have the time to make all the things.
Yeah.
I used to just go to Think Geek, but now that they're gone, I'm like, crap.
There
I have
are
to go to actual stores.
There are places where you can get Think Geek stuff, actually. Like that dragon pan you can get on a store that has, like, I think bought up all of the Think Geek, like, old stuff.
Jen already has that. It's honestly my go-to thing for Friendsgiving when we do it. So I will think of other stuff. It'll be fine.
So what are you looking forward to, Ray?
I am looking forward to actual Friendsgiving, not gift exchange, which I should come up with a better word for that. But just get together with our other friends and working on more art and hopefully more commissions. That engine repair wasn't cheap, so if you would like commissions for drawings that are anime-ish, but not just anime, I do other stuff.
She's drawn me a lovely picture of my Dragonborn bard for my D&D group.
I am working on that. I do have pictures of commissions on Instagram, and I am working on more. What about you? Ember?
Well, I was gonna do a light show thing too, but now I'm not sure. um, Leah and I tried to go to a drive-through light show, and we read it was poorly written. A local place that's like a zootastic has one of those drive-through light shows, and the way they had written the ad was like, "We'll be open 7 days a week starting on, I think it was November 20th." And then it had under it sentences saying what their hours were on different days. So I thought, okay, this is when they're open now, and then they'll be open 7 days. Like the way it was phrased, we didn't realize they weren't actually open yet. And those hours were for when they are open 7 days to do this nighttime thing. So we went and we drove there, and there were some lights and there were archways and you could drive in. And then I got to where the booth was where you should have been having to pay somebody and no one was there.
Oops.
I was like, well, this is weird. And Leo is driving actually. And she was trying to turn around. I'm like, well, it's one way. You're supposed to, I mean, there's arrows. So maybe just somebody's up there or something, or there'll be somewhere to turn around. Maybe it'll loop us around or whatever, because they must not be actually open. And there wasn't. So we just drive down into this like ravine, basically, go through a couple archways of lights, about like 20 yards of it, and then it just ends at a gate. They're not done setting up. It's not open yet. And so there's nowhere to turn around. And it's one lane. So she's like, and she's trying to back up, and her car has a fancy, like, one of those backup cameras and everything, but I could just feel the terror coming off of her. You want me to drive? She's like, yes, and just jumped out and ran around. I'm like, okay. So I got us out of there. I'm like, I'm good. Like, I just invoke Mater. I'm like, I'm gonna ignore your camera. I don't know what the hell to do with that. And look over my shoulder, and I just, whipped us out of there backwards. She's like, okay, you are now on my zombie apocalypse team. I don't know where you got those driving skills. It's like, driving on crazy ice and snow a lot of my life. Who knows? Racing in my Hertz in Florida. I've done a lot of crazy driving, and it's made me better. And we were gonna go do that this week, but I don't know. Seems to be ending up with potential exposures to COVID, and like tests aren't just, okay, it's negative, I'm fine now. Like, no, you still need to wait a little while.
Yeah.
So I think we're gonna go back to virtual dates for a little bit. What else? Yeah, stupid COVID. And I'm cooking a giant ass turkey because my husband picked up the turkey and my youngest son helped him pick it out. And so even though there are 4 of us, we have a 22-pound turkey.
Jeebus.
Oh, wow.
You're going to have turkey for like 3 months.
You'd be amazed, though. I mean,
Well,
I have a 19-year-old and a 17-year-old boy.
To be fair,
I'm lucky if I get to make soup before it's gone.
To be fair, like, I made the best thing ever last year, which was turkey tetrazzini out of our leftovers. It was so good.
I had lots of leftover recipes, but I don't usually get very much left over, unfortunately. So we'll see, because I've been craving chicken salad, something awful, and none of the places in town, nobody makes it to my liking. I'm too picky for chicken salad. They shred it. I don't understand. Why is it shredded? That's a terrible fucking texture for chicken salad. So anyway, folks, remember you can always come watch us record live, like Jackie did, at twitch.tv/geekgrills on most Monday evenings. Our next one will be... no, it's not the 23rd, because that's today.
Oh, no.
When will our next one be?
Our next one will be...
Because we take the first Monday, we have our production meeting.
Yes, the
so
7th.
We will not have one on the 7th. So we will be back on December 14th.
Well, next Monday
is the 30th. Are we doing the
30th? Right. Yeah, we'll do the 30th.
Yeah. Hey, let's do that again. Remember, you can always come watch us record live at twitch.tv/geekgrills on most Monday evenings. Our next one will be on November 30th. at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern Time.
And
How else can the people help us out?
they can help us out by uh, in addition to the subs and bits that we get on Twitch, we're supported by our amazing patrons. You are the greatest girlfriends on the internet, and you can join them as a patron at www.patreon.com/grills. And don't forget, if you have Amazon Prime, you can sub to us for free every month on Twitch.
Yes. And another way to show your support is by leaving us a review. You can do so on any of your podcast catchers. Leaving a review is free and they help our ranking, which helps other people find our podcast. Also, you can join our Facebook page and follow us on Twitter if you'd like to help spread the word.
Hooray! So where can everyone find you on the interwebs, Grills?
You can find me, Linda, on Twitch and Instagram under the name madcap_misk, and you can check out my website store at madcapm.com. Hey, Christmas is coming up. Gift time. Shameless plug.
It is shameless plug.
Totally.
Yeah.
And you, Ray?
You can find me on Instagram under Dapple Dame, and on Twitch as Ray Ino. Commissions are open. Just putting that out there. Very affordable prices.
Absolutely. And I can be reached at 9 of 12 on Twitter and Twitch. And you can hear me on the Heresy and Hearsay podcast. I believe we're going live tomorrow on my Twitch channel. I'm going to ask Ray and Linda, I already have your address for your website, but Ray, if we can get whatever Instagram for your commissions or whatever, however you want people to contact you, I'd like to get your bio and that information on our website for folks. So by the time they hear this, they'll be able to go handily click and find where to buy our nerdy art for their holiday pleasures.
Excellent, yes.
Oh, thanks for listening, everyone. Good game.
GG!
GG.
Stay safe.
Yep, I was trying to find the Yule box on my Instagram, but I hate it because once you look at it, it goes away now.
Oh, well.
So
What?
yeah, so Instagram, once you like have looked at something and scrolled through, it'll refresh and then it stops
Oh.
at the new posts and then it goes to recommended posts. So if you've seen something like earlier than your refreshed post, it's just gone. I don't know if I can change that. I probably can, but I don't know how. It's probably somewhere in
Okay.
buried.
I don't know anything.
Meanwhile,
I never use Instagram.
Facebook would actually show me new stuff as opposed to the same things or things from 5 days ago.
I recently got Facebook pushed me some kind of questionnaire about how I want how's my algorithm working? Would I rather have things more current? Yeah, duh. I
It's
don't
the
know
whole
what
reason you
prompted
got
that.
me to go to Facebook and stop using LiveJournal. I was told there'd be up-to-date input.
Yeah.
I bet I can
What
change
is
that.
this? I'm in
somewhere.
some kind of text messaging chain I can't get out of, by the way.
Oh no.
Oh,
Yeah. And I can't seem to block the number because it's not coming from a number. It's somehow coming from an email address, but it's being texted to 20 people and it's like porn bots.
Oh dear.
ugh.
Yeah. Getting on my nerves. So we have, for titles, we have Too Much Stress in the Turkey and Tales of Cake Fails, Pie Hazards, and Redemption.
Oh, those are both real good. I kind of like the second one.
Yeah.
Because it's like poetic.
Yeah.
Let's do that one. All right,
Okay.
I'm going to stop stream. Where's my
Okay.
button?
Everybody should go see Jury or somebody.
Yes.
Mary Amber's on. Kyle Ferguson is on.
Okay, bye.
And I'm going to look up lamb cake now that I remember.